I'm here. Let's see if I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you. It's been a long time since I have been in this seat. Many don't know I started out at Berkeley Zen Center, but I didn't start taking vows till I went to San Francisco Zen Center. But I would come here early in the morning, every day, early in the morning. I lived off the 51st Street in Genoa. And I would drag my partner Simwala. Then after a while, there was no Simwala. I understood she needed to rest so she could get to work. And so Simwala passed in November 2022. And so her face is not here. Her smile. And I usually will be sitting here. The first time I did a way of the mind seeking talk, way seeking talk. How's it called?
Way seeking mind.
Way seeking mind talk. The first one I did here. I remember Soja Roshi sitting there, or Linda's now. And it's just like, oh my God, just like, it was so nerve-wracking, but it was good. I thought he was observing me and examining me, but he actually was taking care of me and watching to see if I was all right. Yeah, I could feel that later. And then I would look over in that far corner, Alan, always when something went, like I did something wrong or whatever, his eyebrow go up. And sometimes both eyebrows. And then sometimes it would get really funny when I got to the place where I had robes and I would get all tangled up in my robe and he would just be cracking up. And, and that's what I needed. I crack up, he crack up. And the last time we were cracking up with each other was at I ordained 3 people in 2023. And I don't know, for some reason, I couldn't figure out how to get out of the Zendo. So I kept coming to the altar and bowing. Then I came back, I think I might have did, it's all supposed to be 3, I think. I think I did 9. And he was like, he was shaking his head, and I just started shaking mine and laughing. We just both cracked up, and that's my last image about cracking up together. And so there are many faces of people I love in the audience and here, and people that I haven't seen for a long time. Just wonderful to see and to be here. And, I remember you. Don't think I don't. I got it. So, and friends and old friends. It's great. This is a wonderful place to be at a time like this in this world. This is it. And even if you don't know anything about what we're doing, this is a good place to be. This is good. We've taken time out of our lives to do something quite different than most people are doing in the world. And I don't label it good or bad. What we're doing is not. What they're doing is not bad, and what we're doing is not superior necessarily. But I feel like it's a good place to be where we can breathe and talk together and be together in a moment that you can't get out there. I mean, we could try. Even if we just got up and went to the corner, we could try it, but it would be a lot of disruption. What are you guys doing? Where are you from? It wouldn't be as simple as what we're doing now. So everything is changing right here, right, at BZC. BZC is becoming something else. The world is becoming something else. We don't know what. Some of our imagination is probably running wild. We probably could write a great novel right here with each one's mind of what might be going on. A very wild novel. everyone write a chapter. I'll make sure it gets published. I know a lot of publishers. And then there's ourselves. We are changing. We are being reshaped by the things in the world. We've always been reshaped. Things have been changing and becoming something else. And a lot of times that's disheartening, because especially if we really love it and we're really attached to something that we feel is important, it's very hard for that to change. Things we don't want or we're not attached to it, we might even not notice that it went away, that it changed and went away. We might have had a happy moment, and then that was it. But the things that are difficult and hard, we keep remembering them too, those things that changed us. So I thought it would be good to bring my teacher in, Zen K. Blanche Hartman, and her book, Seeds for a Balanced Life. And sometimes I like to say I curated it, but I collected her talks and put it in a book. And so she did not write this book, and it was happening while she was dying. She was in a dying process in Navarro. And so it was interesting to create a book of an icon in the Western Zen world. And I mentioned her, that's actually, she also started here at BZC and Lou, BZC. So many people out there just found out Norman and Kathy started here. That's just exciting. There's so many seeds, but seeds for a balanced life. And in writing this book, it was, I'm not writing it, but collecting the talks, shaped me as I was reading, reshaped me with her teachings, her presence, her everything. She did get to see the book and was very happy to have it. She's showing it off. She said, take a picture. And I was like, wow, Blanche, I never knew you as that kind of person. Because even the publisher said, we want to put her picture on the front. And I said, oh, no. Oh, no. She's not that. She's not going to want that. And so he said, no, we want to do the picture. Go ask. Okay, who are you? So I did. I went and said, Blanche, they want to put your picture on the front. And, oh, yes, I know just what one. I was like, I really don't know. I was like, okay. It was beautiful. It's the perfect picture. She was right. It thrilled me, actually, to see her be that way, because she'd always, we're always trying not to. We're suppressing even our love for ourselves. We just suppress it because somebody might find out we love ourselves. Oh my gosh. And so it was really good to see her excitement. And then when she got the book to, she would take pictures. I have one of those pictures with her smiling, laying in the bed. She couldn't even sit up. A lot of times I would have to go and just have her put her arms around my neck and I would pull her up, and now I'm not strong. So she was very fragile and thin at that time, and I would pull her up so she could engage. And my Dharma transmission started in her basically hospital room. That's where it started. And the people, the caretakers, the nurses, like, what's going on? What are they doing? They had all these teachers, everybody's rushing around. And we had these robes on. And, they had seen people from Zen Center, but they're like, what are they doing, in that room? And, of course, they never found out, and you never will either. So you got to do the work. Coming to that ceremony. And it was just, I knew my bowing was my last time bowing to her. And normally I do standing bows, but I did full prostrations. It took me forever, but I did them because I wanted to do that for her. for what she did for me. I loved having her as a teacher, and I love teachers, having teachers, and I have many. But I was the kind of person who wanted a teacher. I wanted guidance. I wanted someone to say no. And so, of course, she said that quite often. No. What did you do? What happened? Because I did a lot of things that she would say no to. I think I wanted to share her essay, Beginner's Mind. And this book is the first one. Beginner's Mind is Zen Practice in Action. So we all go, oh yeah, I read Suzuki Roshi's book. Yeah, that's a good one. I already know all about that. So just listen to that. I already know all about Beginner's Mind. Doesn't that come up for you a little bit? How many times are we going to do Beginner's Mind? Suzuki Roshi, oh my God. In that book, which I didn't read in the beginning of my practice like it was suggested. I wasn't very good at taking guidance as a student. And I refused. I read it and I didn't understand it. Until I did a sesshin, which is a 7-day retreat. And I knew everything in that book from then on, from the cover to the end. I said, oh, I get it. You can't read this book and know it. And I feel like that's why Blanche, I was telling everybody on Sunday that she didn't really like being called Blanche. And every time I say that now, it's like she's sitting next to me and said, I thought you could get, I don't want to be called Blanche. So she liked to be called Shunbo. That's what she wanted to be called, or Zenkei. And people kept calling her Blanche. So people did start doing Zenkei quite a bit, but not as much. So in her essay, I'm going to I'll first read the sentence that I think I like the most. It is the mind that is innocent of preconceptions. She's trying to define beginner's mind. It is the mind that is innocent of preconceptions, expectations, judgments, and prejudices. Beginner's mind is just present to explore and observe and see things as they are. To explore and observe and see things as they are, innocent of preconceptions, expectations, judgments, and prejudices. Okay, how easy now is beginner's mind to you? And how long is it going to take you to get there? How long? When we start practice, oftentimes we get in there and we want to make sure we know how to be still, we know how to be silent, we know how to count our breath, we know how to be loving and kind, we know how to be non-dual, we know how to be, all these things we read. And we can do it in 30 days. I think I can do it in 30 days. I'm going to be that. I'm going to be Buddha. And it takes us away from this place called beginner's mind. And eventually you understand that you're in a field that's unending. And there's no achievement, which is what I would tell my students all the time. I'm sorry, none of you are getting an A. And none of you are going to be achieved or accomplished all these teachings. It's just not going to happen. So if you're disappointed, sorry, this is where it goes. And you want to hope that you don't, that it doesn't end. So what if our practice had ended my practice ended after 7 years. Whew. It would have been a real mess. Because how long college? You kind of go maybe 7 if you do graduate school, undergraduate, graduate school. 7 years of Buddha, walking with Buddha, is just like nothing. You look back and nothing. You don't understand it. You don't really know who Buddha is, really, or Buddhism. So anyway, in Zenkei's book, she starts talking about this child who is to, describe more what beginner's mind is, and or what she saw it as. without definition, because this is ongoing. Remember just what I said, it doesn't end in 7 years. And she's talking about a child named Indigo that I guess was living at City Center.
Yeah.
And I think this child the way she was sounding like what the child was doing was probably about 10, 11 months maybe at this time. And they had taken an object off the table. They were looking at it and, biting it, hitting it on the table. And she was watching Indigo do these things. And she enjoyed it and saw that as beginner's mind. She saw that as, oh, this is what it looks like, how it feels, and before someone says, that's a spoon, and they're like, doesn't matter, I can still check it out, and then maybe someone will tell twice, 2, 3 times, it's a spoon. But she loved talking about that. I love the way she tells that story in the book about Indigo. And I could just see it, and I feel like babies especially have such a direct experience of life. They're looking at you, but they really like not looking at you who you think you are. They're just looking, until you say, oh, that's Zenju. They'll be like, you don't care. They might even do that with mom, dad, They're just trying to look. I didn't ask you for any information. I'm looking. I'm trying to experience the world, the things around me I haven't seen before or met before. So when I first came to BZC, actually my very first time before I started sitting, I came in and this Zendo was exploding with people. Like it was like I said, wrong day. Community new, and it was packed. We couldn't even get in that door. And Sojin Roshi had already began to talk. So late, oops, Zen begins to talk, and he's crying, like full on crying, and I'm like, what a day to show up at Zen Center. Berkeley Zen Center, and he's crying, and people, are crying with him, and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, really. And but anyway, I said I gotta sit down. I need a seat. There are no chairs, so I was right in the corner. I saw this little space back there, right in that corner. I remember like a little space right here. Okay, like I'm sitting on that. I have my Zavatana. So there was that space, but I think it's a great space. Blah. I sat on it. And I guess probably or someone, whoever's at the door said, excuse me, we can find you a seat if you like. And I was like, I got a seat. What's the problem here? And he says, well, maybe you could sit over there, And I was like, wow. So I like this seat I'm sitting on. It feels good. And people behind us, like it was 3 rows back there where there's just 1 row now. There were 3 rows. I was row 4. That's how many people were in here. And I just would not budge. I would not budge. I knew this is a seat. I'm going to sit here. Okay. Then I learned Oryoki. I go to Oryoki is our ceremonial way of eating. And I go, that's like, never, never, ever sit on the meal board. Oh my God, that was like years later. Never, ever sit on the meal board. And I was like, and that still comes to my mind. I go, my preconceptions made me sit there. And, it's a table, it's a space. I can fit. I don't care. The other person has a problem trying to get me out of that chair. So it was becoming a whole thing, and I'll just never forget it. So for me, that was a chair, it was a meal board, like you see in front of you now, that wood in front of you. It's beautiful. It's a perfect place to sit. You know, you can cover it and sit, but you cover it up. Those who have difficulty sitting, crossing their legs. When I first started practice, I didn't, and now it's just harder for me. So that was, to me, also an inability to have beginner's mind. Why was Soja and Roshi crying? And everybody else. Kobin Chino Roshi had just died, had drowned, trying to save his daughter. And everyone knew this beautiful person. I felt like the way everyone talked about him and the way people were crying about him, I even get chills. I never met this person, but I know this person through people's grief. And he died trying to save his daughter in water somewhere. And trying to save her, I guess, decided to go with her rather than let her die by herself. I never forgot that story. And I read everything Covancino after that. And I really love his teachings as well. And how he walked as a priest and as a teacher. And everyone kept giving him a zendo, giving him a temple. And he would just move along. He never would just say, okay, I'm just going to be here forever. And just, oh, thank you. And off he went. That's very interesting. But it was a hard story and a hard day to be in at Berkeley Zen Center. And I never will forget it, and how the chanting went and just the way it was held, you know, and the grief. And I knew this to be a place for me to be. I didn't know anything about Zen, you know, I just was watching people hold each other. And that was the most important, and still to me, it's the most important in Zen practice, is how we hold each other and care for each other and look like we feel like that too, not fake it. You know, I'm going to be loving and kind. And then you kind of like, I don't know what that looks like for people, but it might not be that for somebody else. So you have to really have beginner's mind even on that, how to be loving and kind. Oh, you're not loving and kind, that means you've got precepts. You know, perceptions, you hope you have precepts, but perceptions of how loving and kind looks, how being happy looks. Which brings me to the question I've been asking, because we're changing so much in this world today, is what would we be saying, or how would we be thinking of today's actions and experiences with the beginner's mind? You know, how would we talk about anything that you might even see on the news? Every time there's a big situation, tragedy, or whatever, I used to ask my students to tell me about it. And sometimes they would tell me about what they read, because we weren't there, right? About what they read, what they thought about it. I have my thoughts too. Okay, so I'm not out of this great work. I'm in it too. I have my thoughts. But what if we were to look at today's situation with beginner's mind, and what are the possibilities? I would be, if you have some, I would really be interested in some of that when we do Q&A if you want to share. Good. So it's difficult though, because I think we kind of lose that beginner's mind, not so much far away from where Indigo was 11, 12 months, because everyone's going to tell you what it is, right? And you're going to say, that's what it is. You know, this is not a bowl, but is it a cup? To some people, it's not a cup. It could be a vase. I'm going to drink from the vase. You know, to some people, that it would have a handle if it were a cup. You know, so I'm doing this practice now, this beginner's mind, and to look and see, you know, what are some of the possibilities that some of the things that are being destroyed, what does that mean? What are the possibilities? So I do read things. So recently, I think there was a TV program, maybe it was a news program, and people obviously liked it. I didn't watch it. It was a late night show or something, and it was canceled in a way of some censorship behind it. That's what they're saying in the news. And then the people who have been experiencing this as news people are creating this incredible network on news that we've never had in this country. Never. And I can't wait to hear some of what they're going to say and how they're going to say it and what they're going to bring. But yes, they were censored. And then what does censorship bring? What does immigration, deportation, what is that? We know the horror of it because it is horrendous. It's horrendous. And everyone, in case you don't know, can be deported. In case you haven't gotten that part. They'll just figure it out, what you need to be deported. Don't write the wrong thing on Facebook. Don't. What is happening? What is the possibility? We feel we know, especially if you're very astute on the political realm, psychological realm, sociological realm. We got all of that down. I do too. I know how to do that. But what's happening on a spiritual level? What would beginner's mind, Zen practice, possibility say about what is happening now? We can make that a project in a moment. It's kind of like, well, I don't think I want to be in beginner's mind. I kind of know what's going on, and I don't like it. And that's where how we are. We always want to know. It's very important to know, ahead of time. For what reasons? To protect ourselves, to keep from being injured. I had a friend would call me about, what happened in the news, one day it's something's, or rights been taken away, you're going to lose this money, you're going this, that, and the other. And I said, I really thank you for trying to keep me included, but I don't need that every day, of that kind of, because right now, and I don't think she understood, I censored her, right? But right now, I'm trying to stay within my single pointedness, stillness, and silence of Zen so I can hear and see the possibilities. Because even if it happens, I better be able to meet the possibilities that will come forth for me and for others around me. And so to be over here in the chaos, I can't help. And so I invited someone Sunday where I did a talk at Green Gulch to join me. Those who feel helpless, I need you. I need you to join in this kind of place where we know we see what we see, but are we willing to be awake to something different than what we think we see? That roll it back when you get the recording, and that there is this place in which we see everything, and the darker it gets, the more we see. The more we see. And we're amazed. We're like, oh. And then every time something, it's amazing, isn't it? How much you can see in the darkness and the trouble. And what do you have in your basket? We have all kinds of things: meditation, yoga, eat right, go to the doctors. We have all kinds of things, and to survive on a spiritual level, or just say Zen, say the word spirit. There is really discovering, taking the time to discover something rather than having a beginner's mind. And because even when you start, say, eating right, which I did, I was eating right, found out, and I was eating all these almonds. Can't Can't do almond milk, almond nothing. What's wrong with almonds? Oh my gosh. Pineapple. Always pineapple in my smoothie. Can't do it. I thought it was right. It's not right for me. It's right for someone else. So every recipe is not for you. So when I get sick, it's a possibility. It can't be what I'm eating. I'm eating so well. Almonds and pineapple, I eat so well. How could that be a problem? Ginger. I love ginger. All kinds of things. And maybe it's only for a moment. I could go, oh no, but and go into this whole thing, never have ginger for the rest of my life. I don't think I can do it. I think these things we're holding on to in our lives and in this world are things that are quickly slipping out of our hands. They've always been out of our hands, but now we really see how much they were out of our hands. And I think I am sitting here not to necessarily be a teacher and influence you, but kind of to join in this movement of awakeness, to be as you were born. You were awakened, in birth. When all the awakened ones awakened, we were, and we know. But it's hard to accept. It's hard to say it's possible, because we've been taught that it isn't. It isn't possible, but it doesn't matter if it's happening. I've been using a new word for interrelationship. And because we talk about that a lot, we often think it's about us, the people. But it's more, right? More than just us human beings. But I've been using the word interawakeness. That is more important and deeper of what the interrelationship's about. Because if we're in an interawakeness, then there's that possibility that you might see something, you might see something, you might see something. And together that it's something totally new. It doesn't even fit in a Zendo. It doesn't even, and then we would be afraid. Oh no, is that Zen practice? So you have to be you want to be at the root of your practice, but you also want your practice to be in beginner's mind. In beginner's mind. I don't know everything in Zen. I don't know all the ceremonies. I've been 25 years, and still there's something new. Oh, Zenju, can you lead the pure Nirvana ceremony? What? I've never done that before. Dad just sit in this big old chair. Like, okay, let's do it. Because what's the word? Yes. This is Suzuki Roshi saying. Yes. And then you're like, okay, let's see. There's no in practice. It's yes. And it was powerful, the most powerful thing I did. Mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. Not that I became something or something because I sat in a big chair. But it was just that opening, that beginner's in the mind, the willingness to do the ceremonies. How many here is the first time in a Zendo or at Zen Center? Okay, welcome. This is important to know and to see it and remember it this moment. And if you come back or if you stay 10 years, remember, try to recollect. I do try to recollect my childhood a lot. Try to recall it, and I do remember things. And I go, oh, now I get it. You've done it, right? Now I get it. So, anyway, I really want to engage you all and hear your questions, and perhaps you even have some idea, or something you want to share where you didn't have beginner's mind and then you found out something that you wish you had not set on that meal board. You would have listened. Okay, we can open it. Thank you for listening.
Hi. Thank you for your talk. I'll break the ice. One of the most moving things that happened to me in Zen practice was to hear Blanche talk about Kenzo Kyoku. And that's about all I wanted to say. It really, really moved me and actually spurred me on to meet with her and come here and find my way around.
Very good.
Wonderful talk. Thank you.
Morning, Zenju.
Hi.
My name is Joe. You ever heard the story about when Sojin went to sit as sashimi with Koben Chino?
Is it a long one?
No. They're doing oryoki, and I guess Koben Chino didn't really worry about forms. He didn't teach anyone anything, you know?
Right.
And so Sojin's just furious, just like, this food is taking forever. He just gets up, takes a pot, and just starts handing it out. And then he realizes, what am I doing? What am I doing? You know? I thought of that story because you mentioned Koben Chino, but then I thought, actually, maybe that has something to do with it. You know, Sojin had this idea, I know how to do oryoki, this is taking too long. And he flipped it and tried to take control. So what I'm wondering is, when it comes to beginner's mind, there's one thing like, okay, I feel I can access that in Zazen, or just sitting, breathing, and stillness. In activity, I find it harder.
Right.
And usually it's only in those Sojin moments where I done messed up. You know, like that's when I realize I'm not in beginner's mind. How do you find beginner's mind in activity? Is it only by messing up? Is it only, only by realizing I'm not in it, you know?
Well, messing up, you might kind of see it as a gem now. It's precious. Mm-hmm. It's not only it's just by seeing, you know, and you might label it messing up, but you actually are opening your eyes or even heart in some ways. So when we say mind, we're saying heart, mind. And so you begin to see mostly yourself. It's a really interesting thing to, I remember when Simwala was dying, my partner, she wouldn't talk about death with me. That was difficult. And then she decided to tell her nurse what she wanted for her service and things. And then she was talking about it, and the nurse told me, I said, oh, no, look, that service is only for priests. You know, she can't have that one. That she can't get that. Zen's not going to do that. Yeah. And so I said, okay, I won't say nothing. We'll just go along. I did ask Zen Center. And guess what? She got a priest goodbye, priest ceremony. I was like, wow, I hope I get one, because it probably wasn't going to happen for me because I wouldn't be asking for one. And maybe I won't get one. Who knows? We don't know where I'll be, whatever. It was important to her that she had that ceremony. And I asked for it and they said, yes. I looked at myself like, what do you know? Suzuki Roshi, the phrase, it's not always so. And that has really helped me to see myself. So not to go, oh, no, I messed up. But, it's to see that mind that's so tight, so fixed, so judgmental. Like, I was really having a time with the guy who was trying to get me up off that billboard. And I didn't even know him. It was my first moment. And this is not going to be a good place for me, And it could have turned into anything, right? But because I already had a practice too before I came to Zen, it didn't get into something that could have been very harmful to the room or people around me or to myself or the person who was trying to help me do what the practice was. A practice I didn't understand. So Zen really will show you that, what you think while you're practicing and doing the forms, and people learn the forms and then police the forms. No, that I've seen people, move people over here, trying to get them to to the form, and then I've watched people just do what they do. I mean, I was asked when I had a sangha, what forms did I use? And I said, pretty much what they use and what I was trained in. I said, but there's a few extra things. And they said, what? I said, I just allow people, they think they're doing what we do at Zen Center, but it looked good, it worked. And they started doing things that just don't do at, at City Center where I was. And I thought they were just quite wonderful, and just allowed extra bows and in places that you don't do them. So what? I just allowed them, and it became the form of that sangha. Now the sangha don't even know what those are. I just allowed them to happen. So when they go to other places, they're like, "That's not the way," in their mind, right? And then the other's like, "No, that's not the way." So this one we get that's when we're in trouble. Like we are now. This is what's happening now in the world. This is the way. This is going to be the way. We're not doing that. Like none of those things are connected. So they're going to have to learn connection at the we're all going to be, rolled up in it while they're learning, because we're all together here, right? On the planet. No matter who we are, no matter what we've experienced, I think we're getting it now. We're all here together. Yeah. Thank you. I like this story.
We have one question from online.
Okay. Could you read the question to me instead of the person? Would you read the question?
I don't read the question, but I will ask him to unmute and speak it.
Before you speak, person, it's hard for me and difficult for me to speak to someone I can't really see and engage. And so I'll listen, and then I'm going to ask you to mute, and then I'll answer it. So I won't have a conversation with you. Just want to let you know, because that has happened to me before when the questions aren't read. Okay. Go for it. What's the question?
Thank you so much. My mic is on. Thank you so much. Wow, what a wonderful gift and a wonderful treat. I was actually going to show up at the Zendo today, but I had some other things to do, and so I turned to the Zoom app. And I had such wonderful and beautiful memories of Blanche in 2008 and 2011 when she came to the Gay Buddhist Fellowship in San Francisco, and listening to you and having a sense of your experience. I wish that I had more contact with her. It's difficult to find sometimes those who can lead you through, and your experience and my experience with Blanche, I could see very well how that could occur. So I just wanted to share that because I was so excited because I loved hearing Blanche. It was such a wonderful experience. So that's just the question that I have. Also, the connection with New Orleans. I studied at Xavier in New Orleans, and it's such a powerful experience. So thank you.
You're welcome. This is why we have heirs in this tradition. It's this practice, the Buddha way, is ancestral. This is ancestral wisdom. Then a lot of people say, well, we don't do ancestors. I say, yeah, Buddha. He's not here. He's gone. He's an ancestor. And we do them, and we do chant them, from various places and countries and continents. So the heirs, it used to be, I think, tighter, and this is definitely an opinion, tighter in the way that a teacher's teachings were passed on. So usually if you're a student of a teacher, the teacher moves on, and then you continue those teachings from the teacher. So I always hope a lot that my teachings are pointings or sharing is in in the vein of Zenke. At the same time, she said, "You're really Buddha's student, not mine."
Mm.
And so she allowed that open field. And there's this way, like even you don't write your own teachings, your students write your teachings, like I did here. And that's so others can see what the teacher from the past, just like Buddha, taught. And so I think she's accessible to you. There are many students. I forgot the number of heirs. I'm actually the last of her heirs. I was squeezed in the end, and I was just talking about that on Sunday too. Well, I'm giving the same talk, and maybe I am. And that it's the heirs. All of them were pretty feisty, outspoken, and had their own minds. And definitely struggled with beginner mind, probably. Maybe that's why it's her first essay. Or having preferences, which was always kind of my work, having preferences. So she always would have me study Faith in Mind or Trust in Mind, which is a premier Zen state. And it's also on the back of my first Rakusu, my blue Rakusu. I just laughed when I saw the quote from that. Basically, don't have preferences. You make your way much more. You struggle more, with having things unique a certain way. Have I, gotten rid of them? No. Mm-mm. No. Sometimes I think I'm worse as I get older. I'm like, no, because you're worried about whether or not that's going to work for you when you get older. And so, but I do recognize it. And when I'm struggling, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with my thinking what I know, and having preferences, and I mean encountering others, being in relationship with other people. And so, so the work is not to be perfect and to be able to, walk in the world without any kind of, I guess, work, things that we need to do. Work is a bad word for it. I don't like to call it a work, or let's say a walk. Each of us have a walk that we walk, and sometimes we have a deep groove where we keep walking the same place, and that's okay. That's life. And so to get in this practice, and especially Zen, to me, to feel better than others. And that happens a lot if you're in your first year or second year of practice and you start learning everything. And then you're like sitting at the dining table with your friends or your family, you're going, oh no, they didn't say that. Oh, that's not right speech. Oh no, you have all these different feelings. Because, and I always tell people, well, I can't do it anymore because my eyes are open, so, so that just means your eyes are really closed to other people and to, and not having the capacity to suspend judgment and suspend your preconceptions and prejudices and things like that, and to just listen. And to not internalize it. You don't have to become what they think. And maybe that person isn't what they think, and maybe tomorrow they won't be that person that they think. I have seen people around me over the years who know me change. And it's just amazing. I haven't said anything. I'm just living my life. I'm just walking. And I'm not saying I walk it perfectly, because I don't. Because if I did, and if we did, we all did, I don't know why we're sitting here, because did you see how hard it was to get to this Dharma seat? I mean, we are here because we are ready to walk in a certain way, even though we're human beings and things happen. Things happen. So.
you for your talk. Very deep. It's good to see you. Fond memories of Blanche at City Center when I was living there. You have another name, Earthlyn?
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
the name my mother gave me. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Exchanging, sharing yourself with Earth, Earth sharing itself back to you is what comes to mind. So I'm having a crisis and a struggle with my own 12-year-old daughter, and so your sharing of his name's Kobayashi. Am I saying it correctly? Kobayashi. Thank you. The story of him trying to save his daughter and going into the water, and you had mentioned that maybe he exchanged himself for her in a way, and we hear that in Buddhism, exchanging self for other. And I'm thinking about you're talking about beginner's mind, like he probably never thought that possibility would occur, that he would have to jump into dangerous water to save his daughter's life. Like that's beginner's mind. Like he wasn't
He
expecting
probably
that.
had no mind about it.
Yeah.
At all.
But in Buddha way, it's like no one causes and conditions arose to that point in time that he had beginner's mind, and he probably, boom, he just jumped in without thinking to save her.
Or maybe he was thinking, what do you know?
Yeah, true. My beginner's mind. Thank you. So I'm just thinking about, am I a human being? I am, but I'm also an interbeing. And then I'm thinking about the tears, Sojin, when you came in and everyone was crying about it, and the waters of coming out of people's eyes are interbeing with the waters that took his daughter and took him. So thank you. That helped me this morning. It's not really a question, but much gratitude for your Dharma talk.
Yeah. So it's more like being in that moment. If we live our lives in the moment of discovering what's right in front of us, just as things are, you don't really know how you're going to respond. Yeah, he probably didn't know the possibility was going to be they both would lose their lives. But there was this way, I think, in that story. We're not there, we don't know. Actually, a similar, a couple of weeks ago happened with an actor, Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was in the Cosbys. Same thing, was in the ocean, saving his daughter. He died. The daughters live. And I don't know what is going to be on her mind, because I'm sure he was coming after her, and he didn't survive. He got caught up in a rift. And so I think this is why, to me, like this, what's going to happen in the next moment? Tea or lunch or what? What's going to happen next? We think we know. We think we're going to get up. And this is what the old folks used to say: if God says it so, that like I'll see you if God says so. Like it's not in our hands to get up. And so if we're walking like that all the time, like in my mind, sometimes I'll get up in front and I say, sometimes I look like I'm being mindful, but sometimes I've forgotten what I'm supposed to do. The next step. And that's good. That forgetting slows me down, which I didn't think. I said, this is taking awfully slow. That's what it felt like. I judged myself coming in. It felt like, when's this going to end? Rather than, this is so enjoyable. Bowing and offering flowers, which I did enjoy offering the flowers, and I got all into, picking them out. I said, now that is not what we're doing here. We are not doing that. You see how the mind goes right into, oh my God, there's Mary Jane. That's not it. It was just offer. Make the offer. And so it's all the time. It's every minute. It's every minute. You see your child. Every minute, see your child. Not as you think they are. They really will teach you. Change. So I think that's it. Yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you.